Welcome to Looking Within, a podcast for the spiritual explorer in each of us. I'm Julie. I love to explore the inner life using contemplative practices, and I love to help others to do the same. In our time together, I hope you gain a sense of hope, meaning, joy, and love. As a Christian spiritual explorer, I hope to offer some thoughts to help you see God's presence and activity in ever-expanding ways. As you listen, ponder, and experience the divine, feel free to use the spiritual perspective you are most comfortable with in our practice today. Now, let's begin. We continue today on our journey through a multi-part series centered around transition. Changes, transitions, they're such a constant part of life, aren't they? Nothing seems to stay the same forever, or even for very long, before it changes again. But transition is not the same thing as change. William Bridges, author of Transitions, Making Sense of Life's Changes, says that, quote, transition is not just a nice way to say change. It is the inner process through which people come to terms with a change, as they let go of how things used to be and reorient themselves to the way that things are now, end quote. In Bridges' definition of transition, we're reminded of the transition curve, our guiding image during the past few weeks. The transition curve is an inverted bell-shaped curve with the word endings at the upper left, the word beginnings at the upper right, the word uncertainty at the bottom, and a dotted line spanning the top opening, illustrating a path we can choose that superficially skirts across transitions. If we stay above that line, rather than dropping deeper into the transformative inner work involved in transition, it becomes difficult to fully live into a new normal. Today I'd like to pair the word uncertainty at the bottom of the curve with the term liminal space. Liminal space is a parallel space to the curve's upper dotted line that superficially moves us across the top of the transition curve. Above the dotted line, you feel like you grasp everything required to be in control of your life. You feel like you know all the steps needed to successfully move forward or to hold a secure status quo. Towing this dotted line is done to keep things manageable, predictable, and emotionally comfortable. But at the bottom of the curve, in liminal space, you grasp instead that the sense of being in control is an illusion, and the status quo, if there even is such a thing, is replaced by uncertainty. Let's talk more about this in today's episode entitled Uncertainty in Liminal Space. The word liminal comes from a Latin word meaning threshold. So liminal space is any point or place of entering or beginning, of standing in a doorway, not having gone through yet. Often called the desert, the feelings of liminal space may include uncertainty, disruption, confusion, and a sense of feeling lost and alone. All familiar markers and signposts are gone in this in-between time between the what was and the next. In the midst of this uncertainty, the liminal space experience can also include a sense of new life and anticipation for the new beginning yet to come. But for many, the unsettling nature of liminal space seems to be what is most strongly felt, with an underlying desire to go back to what one perceives as a more stable and desirable previous situation. Life is full of times in the desert, isn't it? Where we feel lost and alone and without the familiar markers or people found in a previous time. You've undoubtedly experienced many occasions of liminal space, inherent in rites of passage such as graduations, weddings, and funerals, or found in life circumstance changes such as starting or leaving a job, going back to school, taking on a new role at work, moving, retirement, beginning or ending a relationship, the birth of a baby, or a significant change in one's health. And did I mention the most challenging aspect of liminal space? Waiting. Some have called this threshold time God's waiting room, where we wait for something to end, we wait for something to begin, or we wait for a breakthrough that can't be forced. In liminal space, we learn openness and patience because it's sometimes not clear what we should do or how or when. We wait for God to show up, to give us strength and patience, to show us the new thing. And we finally admit our lostness and confusion. We utter the words, "I don't know. I need some help here." How could we not feel unstable and uncertain in liminal space? In a moment, we'll settle into the quiet. We'll approach any present liminal spaces intentionally and within the community of those who will also listen to this podcast. It's helpful to know that we are not alone in being called into these uncertain threshold times. Let's think about that together now, in the quiet. In this quiet space and time, I'd invite you to gently close your eyes. I'll sound the Tibetan singing bowl, which will call you to look within. As you're listening to the bowl's reverberations, take 3 deep breaths. Then let your breathing return to normal whenever you'd like. Hear the sound of the bowl now. Let it center you. Let it remind you that God is here with you. Liminal space. Those times filled with a mix of anticipation and possibilities, of uncertainty and lostness. The illusion of control and the illusion of managing the status quo is unmasked. Embedding something about your present life circumstances is in liminal space. I know that's true for me. The landscape of life may seem less familiar, a bit scary, maybe empty, certainly unsettling. Take these moments to identify your feelings, your uncertainty, and/or your anticipation found in your personal liminal space. Feel very free to say, "I'm lost here, God. I'm struggling. I need your help." As you utter those words, feel a renewed sense of God's presence and unconditional love for you at this place in your journey. I'll be back with you in about 3 minutes. I'd invite you now to take a few deep breaths in and out. In and out. Let these breaths fill you with strength and energy. Hear me sound the Tibetan singing bowl, and as the sound of the bowl reverberates and slowly dies away, you can gently open your eyes, remaining still for a moment longer. Change. It's almost a constant in life, bringing no end of opportunities to practice the inner work of transition. That being said, we will not be surprised moving forward that our journey will lead us into liminal space, that threshold time of handling excitement and anticipation mixed with lots of uncertainty and confusion. Liminal space is a natural time to utter the words, "I'm lost. I just can't see the next step. Help me, God." And you know what? It's those words that stop us from trying to mentally figure everything out. It's those words that allow us to reach out for God's hand, for comfort in the waiting room, for strength to discern and take the next step, and for courage to not run away or try to go it alone. Our future, yours and mine, is held in God's trustworthy hands. We can rely on that. I leave you with the words from Hebrews 13:5 from the Amplified Bible. Hold tightly to these words as you journey through liminal space. For God has said, "I will never, under any circumstances, desert you, nor give you up, nor leave you without support, nor will I in any degree leave you helpless, nor will I forsake or let you down or relax my hold on you. Assuredly not." Thank you for making time for your inner self today. Whatever you've discovered and experienced, carry that with you in the coming days. You can find more episodes at our website, Gloria-Day, that's DEI.com/lookingwithinpodcast, or subscribe through your favorite podcast app. We'll see you next time.